Welcome back to the SALT Sideline Report. I am Leanna Haakons, and we're standing with someone that doesn't really need an introduction in this space, Anthony Scaramucci, the founder of Skybridge Capital and of the SALT Conference, who has brought SALT back from Vegas to his native New York this year, which we're all very excited about, including yourself.
No, I'm super excited. It was a whole team effort, obviously. A big shout out to John Dorsey and Joe Aletto and the whole SALT Skybridge teams that came together to do it. But I'm just excited to be here. And I sort of feel, it probably sounds self-serving, but it's not meant to be. I feel like the collective energy of everybody is super positive. I mean, from the moment we walked in to where you and I are standing right now, the different speeches, starting with Eric Adams, through the lunch of Bobby Valentine and Joe Torre and the other amazing speakers, I just think it's been a phenomenal event where you could feel people wanting to connect again together. It felt like magnets that were stored in the closet for too long are now back together and they're conjoining, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. So I'm super thrilled about all that. And look at this weather. We got very lucky with New York on a late summer day into fall. The weather's been spectacular.
You're right. The weather is amazing. The rooms are buzzing all over the Javits Center in this expansion. And we're the first people in this space, correct?
We are. This is the first event. I think they had a small event prior to this, but this is the first large-scale event. This is 2,400 people in live attendance. We opened it up on the YouTube channel, so we have many thousands of people listening in from around the world, but we have 2,400 people in attendance. And we stopped it there. We could have actually gone further, but because of health and safety standards and wanted to make people feel comfortable, we thought that would be the right number for this year.
And you had Eric Adams, the Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City. He did your welcome keynote this morning. What was it like to speak to him about the revitalization of New York City and what the SALT Conference is bringing back to New York?
Well, what I said in my introductory remarks about Eric is that he's the right person at the right place at the right time for New York City. He is a former police officer. He's a borough president. But in addition to those two things, he's like a great human being, and he's a person that is in touch with all walks of life, which is a representation of this great city. And for me, I see him as a guy that loves human beings. And so what does that mean? He wants them sheltered. He wants them to feel safe. He wants them prosperous. He wants them to live in a clean city. And he's got the 25 plus years of working in the government to provide that. And so to me, I think he's going to be an incredible mayor. And I hope he will be. And I hope I'm standing here with you and we're talking about his introductory remarks next year as the mayor of New York City and not the Democratic candidate.
It really has been a beautiful thing to see this energy here today, just starting off on our first day at SALT, and to know that everybody is so excited to be back in real life, making business and personal connections with each other once again. We had some really special moments over the lunch keynotes with the baseballers talking about the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, which just happened a couple of days ago, and them remembering those times in New York City and just sort of maybe some of the parallels between what people may have gone through during COVID-19 and how the city was in a dark place and how we're emerging from that now to this post-pandemic world, with SALT being the first big conference in the industry that's back again. What were your favorite takeaways from our lunch discussions with those gentlemen?
Well, I love the way Bobby and Joe put us back 20 years ago to understand the palpable fear that was going on. It was only 10 days after the tragic terrorist attack. We're back to play baseball in a large capacity packed stadium. But then you fast forward a month later, the Yankees are at the World Series and President Bush is obviously throwing out the first pitch, and you could hear in their voices the emotion that they had, the emotion about meeting with the loved ones of people that were murdered, frankly, learning about people's lives and the trajectory of their lives that were truncated. And I love those guys. They've been friends of mine forever. Bobby, a little bit longer than Joe, but Bobby introduced me to Joe. And so I have a great relationship with both of them. Actually went to Italy with Joe to an Andrea Bocelli concert with his wife a couple of years back.
Nice.
And these are great human beings. These are team players. These are guys that want to do the right thing for society. And so when I called them, and I thought it was really fitting, they threw out the first pitch at the Citi Field commemoration event on Saturday night, September the 11th. And I had learned about that from Steve Cohen, who's also speaking here. He spoke today. He's going to speak again tomorrow. I'll be interviewing him tomorrow. The owner of the Mets, I said, listen, you're doing that for the city. I want you to do one more thing for the city. I want you to come to the Javits Center. It's brand new. It just opened, and I want you to tell people about your experience in baseball in 9/11. And I thought it was a beautiful event. And I will tell you this, it was the first lunch in the 12 years that we've been doing SALT where it was standing room only in the lunchroom. And that was very gratifying to me.
It's amazing. The turnout here really is fantastic this year. And you've always found interesting and really compelling ways to tie sports into finance. And we've had a lot of different athletes come through, or former athletes come through
Kobe
the SALT
Bryant.
doors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Coaches, Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
Coach K. We've had a lot of different guys come through here.
And entertainers as well. Paris Hilton is going to be our lunch keynote
Here
tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah. She's actually being interviewed by her fiance, which is a rarity. We're probably going to have a couple of Paris's friends here as well as a result of that interview, because they're here for the MetLife Gala.
Right.
So who knows who'll show up tomorrow? We never know.
Well, there's a fantastic lineup at SALT New York this year, and we're so glad that you've decided to hold this in New York.
Well, I'm grateful to be here, and I want to come back. So we got to do it again.
Absolutely.
Make it better next time, even.
Always. Thank you, Anthony.